Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop chasing something, it suddenly starts moving toward you? Respect, confidence, opportunities, even happiness. At first, it sounds like one of those motivational cliches people post online, but what if there's a real psychological reason behind it? And what if this single mental shift has been secretly controlling almost every decision you've ever made? Because once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it might change everything. Imagine two people walking into the same room. One desperately wants everyone to like him. The other doesn't seem concerned at all. Strangely, people are often drawn to the second person. Why? The first person is working harder, trying harder, giving more, yet somehow becoming less attractive. The second person appears relaxed, effortless, almost magnetic. At first glance, it makes no sense, but beneath the surface, something fascinating is happening. Human beings are incredibly sensitive to psychological signals, far more sensitive than we realize. And one of the strongest signals we constantly broadcast is need. The need for approval, the need for validation, the need to be chosen, the need to be enough. The problem? Need creates pressure, and pressure changes how people perceive us. But this is where things get strange. The more desperately we chase something, the more aware we become of not having it. And the more aware we become of not having it, the more power it gains over us. This creates a hidden psychological trap, a loop. You want confidence, so you constantly think about becoming confident, but every thought reminds you that you're not. You want success, so you obsess over success, but every obsession reinforces the feeling that success is somewhere else, always out of reach, always tomorrow, never now. And this is where everything changes, because psychologists have discovered something surprising. The brain struggles to distinguish between focusing on a goal and focusing on the absence of that goal. Read that again. If your mind spends all day thinking about what you're missing, your brain starts treating lack as reality, not possibility, reality. And once that happens, your behavior changes, your posture changes, your decisions change, even your opportunities change. But that wasn't the most disturbing part. The most disturbing part is that modern society is built around keeping this loop alive. Advertisements remind you of what you lack. Social media reminds you of who you're not. Algorithms constantly place idealized lives in front of your eyes. More money, more beauty, more status, more success, more everything. And every scroll quietly reinforces the same message. You are not there yet. You are not enough yet. You need more. But what if that's the illusion? What if the psychological trick isn't about getting more, but needing less? Ancient philosophers understood this long before modern psychology existed. They noticed something peculiar. The people who seemed the most free were not the people who possessed the most. They were the people who depended on the least, because dependence creates fear, and fear creates control. The moment your happiness depends on something outside yourself, that thing gains power over you. A person, a number in a bank account, a social media notification, a title, a reputation, anything. And the more power you give it, the more it controls your behavior. But then something unexpected happens when you reverse the process, when you stop desperately seeking validation. You become harder to manipulate. When you stop obsessing over status, you become more authentic. When you stop chasing approval, you start making decisions that actually reflect who you are. Ironically, this is often the moment confidence appears. Not because you found it, but because you stop demanding it. And this is the part almost nobody talks about. This psychological trick isn't really about confidence, or success, or relationships. It's about freedom. The freedom that comes from realizing that many of the things controlling your life only have power because you've agreed to need them. And once you see that, a strange question emerges. How many of your desires are truly yours? And how many were placed there by someone else? A company, a culture, an algorithm, a stranger you'll never meet. Because the moment you start questioning that, you begin to reclaim something most people never realize they've lost: their mind. And perhaps the greatest psychological trick of all is that the things we spend our lives chasing often become available only after we stop letting them define us. Because true power isn't getting everything you want, it's reaching the point where your peace no longer depends on getting it. And once that happens, the world loses its grip on you.